Hi everyone, Kathy Beltran with Sacred Dance with Trance. I'm back. I'm super excited to have Mark Bedwood, Trance Medium from Western Australia, with us here today. We have like a 16-hour time difference, so it's just like perfect how we managed to get this interview done. But I'm so grateful to you, Mark,
Pleasure.
to be with us. And I'm glad we are having this interview because one of the first things I wanted to mention is Mark, I think I posted it in the group. Mark is having a trance mediumship development group starting, I believe, February 12th. Is that
That's
happening?
right. Yep.
7:30 Eastern time. Can you share a little bit about that real quick?
Yeah, sure. So I keep getting lots of inquiries from the US, and I've worked quite often in the US. There seems to be lots of people there talking to me and asking for help all the time. So it just seems a natural evolution to formalize it and get everybody together. It's a group that's going to be for beginners and more advanced. It seems to be filling up quite quick. I think I've only got about 3 or 4 places left, so I want to keep it quite small because I want just personal connection, It's really about everybody learning and everybody getting together, and I want to work with individuals rather than just big groups. So it's going to be small but cozy.
Oh, that's perfect then. I know that if you, to message you to get information about it and sign up, or can they go to your, Mark's website is markbedwood.com, and definitely check out his website as well. But how can they just message you if they're interested in the development group?
Sure. Send me a private message. I'll answer any questions, tell you more about the group, tell you what's happening, time frame. I need to know people's experience because I want to see where you fit in. So it seems like lots of people at different levels are being involved. There's inquiries now from Europe too, so it may actually end up being into Europe as well as a different.
And that's perfect. And that's going to be online, correct?
Totally online. So we've got a convenient time frame here between myself and the East Coast and also the West Coast. So we've organised a time to suit. So 7:30 at night for the East Coast, the US is 8:30 in the morning for me. So it fits really well. And so we're working together for 10 weeks. Yeah.
We do get a lot of people. I get a lot of people asking about online courses or online groups and things like that. So whenever I hear about that, I definitely want to share that within the group. I think it's, a lot of people, they're doing these courses outside the US online. So mainly the teachers, and they're out there, out of the US. So this is perfect. I'm so glad that you're offering this. There's also another place I want to talk about. Mark has a Facebook page called Spirit Talk, and he's uploading or has uploaded lots of videos about his the trance. And definitely check that out. We'll have all the links underneath the video when I post it later tonight. Yes. So definitely want to do that. So Mark, what I would like to start with is how you got here. We can go back. Everybody starts like when you're little, or it doesn't matter where you want to start. When you get into the mediumship, what happened to bring you to your path?
Well, Kathy, it is a long story, and it's kind of goes back many years, I suppose. I think I need to jump back to about 1990s, somewhere in that time frame. I'm very bad at remembering exactly when, but somewhere in the early 1990s. I remember reading a book in bed. I'm lying reading a book, and I think to myself, I've read this before. And I've just read this book before, and I think it must have been a few years earlier. And it was Conversations with God. I thought to myself, this is incredible, what's going on here. And anyway, it moved on for that. Nothing happened for a while. And I began a meditation practice way back in, I think 2003 or 4. And I began to learn meditation. And I was doing a meditation practice, not working well, nothing was happening, it was all a problem. Anybody practicing meditation will understand what I'm talking about, that it's just, I'm not getting anywhere. And by chance, I went past or drove past a Buddhist temple, and they said, meditation course starting this weekend. So I stopped, went in and signed up for the course, and it was a 5 or 6 week course, and it was on day one, meditation number one, day one, and I'm sitting there and the teacher said, let's meditate. And so everybody closes their eyes, and I close mine, and as my eyes closed, a drip of water hit me on the top of the head. And I thought, oh, look, I'm under an air conditioning vent, what's going on, you know? And as soon as I realised that, I had an out-of-body experience, off I went and disappeared and visited all sorts of realms, etc. Came back and it felt like it was only 5 minutes later. And so I spoke to the teacher about this. I said, look, this is what's happened. You know? And anyway, the teacher spoke to the nun spoke to the head nun, and 2 weeks later, the message comes all the way back and says, here's the key link. I said, well, what happened? You know, and basically there was no answer. It was just, here's the key link. You know? And this keyring has stayed with me ever since this time. You know, at the time it was fairly insignificant. It felt like a bit of a flippant answer, and it really never took me anywhere. But I kept hold of this anyway. And the same thing happened to me another 3 times. So I'm sitting in meditation, what I call my shrine, and sitting in silence, and my mind's beginning to work really well, or beginning not to work really well. Same thing again, top of the head, water again. And again, I was taken away, and off I went and disappeared again. And then maybe about 6 years ago, a third event happens exactly the same. At this stage, I'm actually giving healings at a spiritual church, and have been for 3 or 4 or 5 years. And a lady who has since become a friend of mine, but I didn't recognise her, I didn't know her at the time, Bev, and she walks up to me and says, I've got to give you 2 books. I thought, I don't even know you. And a week later, we turn up and she gives me the 2 books. And about a month after that, I'm getting around to reading the books, and I'm sitting on a couch outside, and I'm start the book, and I'm at page 32. I remember it, 32, sticks in my mind. And as I sit there, again, a jet of water comes out of nowhere, hits me bang in the third eye, and I then get up and look for where this water's come from. I've got the neighbour's watering, the hose is broken, something. Nothing's there. And I realise, although I have water on my face, there's no water anywhere else. And so then I said, this is a sign for the book. So I'll just carry on reading the book. Where's the book? But it was nothing about the book. It was actually about an awakening. And all these stories are going to be very interlinked in a minute when I put them all together. But the same lady then, again, I perhaps chatted to her a few times after that, said, I need you to come with me to a ceremony, a Taoist ceremony, because I think it'd be good for you to accept the Tao. All right, I'll come. And I went. Now, this was actually ended up being on my 50th birthday, this ceremony took place. I didn't know what to expect, and I went to the temple where it's at. And by chance, if that's the correct word, chance, the Grand Master from looks after all of Asia was there for his only ever outside of wherever he is event, and he was doing the ceremonies. And the ceremonies involve some work where they work with your third eye, etc. And during this time, I think I'm going to go back again to the giving healings. The healings are getting bigger, I'm enjoying it, clients are asking for me, and the energy's flowing really well. So, and it's such a beautiful experience for anybody that works with energy and just likes to give it, just surrender and just give it away. This flow is just beautiful. And I'm giving the energy away, and it's working well. And I begin then to start my mediumship development. But at the same time, I got interested in trance, and I'm starting my trance development and my evidential mediumship at the same time. So I'm guessing this is 10, 11, 12 years ago. And so I signed up for a trance course in the UK in one of the centres. It was a shamanic course, and we do lots of shamanic work, and then the time comes to practice trance. So everybody has a go. And I sat for trance and I spoke on the first sit. And I spoke there for the first sit and it went smoothly. There was I remember it distinctly, of course, a Sikh gentleman with a big turban, tall, and he came and spoke to whoever I was with. And it happened 3 or 4 times over the consecutive days. Everybody's having trouble with the starting bit. Just came natural for me. And it just spoke really easy. And I think then I must have gone for about a 2-year gap of nothing, where no communication happened. I was addicted to this communication, but nothing was there. And I think now, looking back on this, I was chasing it. I was wanted it. I was pushing for it. And trance is not about that. It's not about something you pick up. It's about letting go and surrender and giving over. And in giving over, then you'll feel like the thing just happens, you know. And then we jump ahead again another couple of years, and I'm sitting then in a mediumship development course, and there was 4 of us, and the 4 of us decide about 1 o'clock in the morning, to having had more than 1 glass of red wine, and with 1 o'clock in the morning, let's all link into spirit and practice what we've been learning, you know. And everybody will tell you this is a no-no. You don't link in the early hours, you don't drink wine, etc., etc. But we thought we would. So we link in with the spirit. We've got this spirit link happening, and the 4 of us are going round in a circle. She looks like this, she looks like that. This happens, we're all agreeing. And I remember this lady being Victorian England style, and huge big hat, beautiful long dress, and now this just going to break that link a sec, because now I have a picture painted by Maldrado, which I purchased recently, which has this lady on, exactly this lady, and that now is probably a dozen years difference, you know. Anyway, this lady I'm seeing in my third eye, she starts to walk down a laneway. And this feeling washes over me. I said, well, we have to break this. This is Jack the Ripper. We've got to stop this. This is not right. And we all stopped it. And one of the girls said, I can take Jack the Ripper. And I thought, from that day to this, I've never asked her how she could take Jack the Ripper as relevant to her, but maybe I should. And anyway, we broke that link and we stopped. And as we stopped, I said, look, we've got another link here. We're building up. I said, this person is all over me. He's fully all over me, and I know he's all over me because he's here now, and he's giving me the same signals, and he's coming all over my body. I said, look, I've just got to talk, and I started to talk again. My guide Chow comes through, and he takes the other three through a meditation, and off where they all went, and they were all visualizing his house, his meditation room, a big red door, like a pond with fish in, and all sorts of stuff, and all having not the same, but very similar visions. And after we come out, they talk about it and everything else. And the question was, did you just make that up? And the honest answer was, do you know, that is something that I would do, but I didn't. That was real. And he came through more and more and more. And now he's a major guide for me, talks about a lot of life, you know. And the link to all of this is that this man, Chow, of course, you want to do a bit of research, you want to find how your guides are, and you want to get evidence, etc., etc. And so I went searching, and I found, based on the little bit that I had, that there was a link between my guide of Chow to who was known as the Duke of Zhou, Z-H-O-U. Who is a Chinese character. He's well respected, or was well respected back then, because he was like the what's the word? He ran the court for the emperor. Excuse me, and the emperor died and left his or the kingdom to his son. And his son was only 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, and the Duke of Zhou said, "Look, I'll look after it, you know, until he's 18." And back then, everybody was grabbing power, of course. And when the kid was 18, he handed the power over to him. And he was respected because he could have took it for himself, but he handed it over. And this emperor, sorry, this Duke of Zhou then became very respected. He's mentioned by Lao Tzu, he's mentioned by Confucius, and became an influence in their life. So here comes Taoism. Taoism gets linked in with this then. And it's reported that Buddhism comes a little bit out of these two religions as well. And so again, I've got the Buddhist link. So I went searching then for where these two, Lao Tzu and Confucius, go. And I found them as obviously as what it's called an ascended masters. And I also found out that Lao Tzu, are you aware of the 7 rays? Have you ever heard of the 7 rays? It's mentioned by Madame Blavatsky. It's in A Course in Miracles. It's mentioned in a few texts. And these are the qualities of the Supreme Self are expressed in different qualities, and there's a master for each one of these 7 rays. And Lao Tzu is one of these masters, and he works with the 2nd ray. And the 2nd ray is he looks after peace and wisdom, and the colours are yellow. So meanwhile, within that time, I'd already painted my wall yellow. This is the only colour wall in the house that you can see behind me. And this wall was there, and the writing on the wall is Om Shanti, and Om Shanti means peace. And this house is blessed with peace. It just feels like there's peace everywhere. So many people come, so it's just so peaceful here. And this guide comes back, and the link comes a full circle, that everything has been interlinked all the way along, and it's only when you put the pieces together with hindsight that you see everything's there. So, again, I suppose it's a long story, but that's how my guides have come. And my development for trance has really came through healing. It didn't come through mediumship.
See, you know what, that's what I was going to ask you is, first, let me say one thing. A lot of, quite a few of the people that I've interviewed have said that in the very beginning, when they first started to sit, they got all the talking right away, and then it disappeared for years. And so when you started saying that, I was like, wow, so I wonder if they do that purposely to pull you in, like you need to find out what that is, and then you just find your way from that point on. You brought up Conversations with God, the book. I would say I love that book. I love all of those books, but the meditation, some people say that they never even meditated before, or they sat in the power, or that's what they called it. A lot of people I know that's how they started with the meditation. And so the healing part, were you doing Reiki or just laying the hands, or what were you doing before the trance started?
Yeah, well, there was very little formal training of where it was. So there are 3 other healers in this room, and to begin with, I'm going, well, he does this, so I'll do the same thing. And she's stroking the person's back, I'll do that too, And after a little bit of time and a little bit, let's call it attunement, you start to become your own personality and your own bit. And I've suddenly realised that all the healing that ever happens in the first 2 or 3 minutes, and the rest of it is really for the client, And so the reeling, I feel the energy come through. It comes right through my body. It goes to, let's say, from the palm of my hands to the shoulders, and then it's delivered and it stays there. And I think if I sat there for a healing and gave this for 2-3 minutes, then I thought the client would not be happy. So a little bit extra was always done. And that's not what I do anymore, but that's the way it came through. So the healing process taught me to surrender and taught me to let go. Meditation is also teaching me to surrender. With healing, you are channeling the energy and letting the energy come through. My job as a healer is just to link and then forget it. It's not my job. I don't do nothing. The linking process, of course, does take work, but apart from that, do nothing. And this is why it connects to trance so well, because trance is also a passive state, and the people I work with, the ones that seem to have more trouble with trance, seem to be the evidential mediums who have practiced a mediumship skill that they're developing, and they're used to going looking for evidence, you know. So I've got your grandmother. Okay, let's find out more about your grandmother. She's 6 foot. She wears yellow or whatever, and you go looking for it. You're working, so it tends to be quite like an active state, you know, mediumship. But trance, in its pure state, is passive. It's not means you don't do any work, but it's passive. And once you get that attunement right and you can drift away, then you really are doing very little. Although they can have other effects, etc. But so the healing and trance kind of sits very well together. And I've always found that once the trance practice starts to improve, or the healing practice starts to improve, and you're used to surrendering, it's very easy then to start doing work from a state of stillness, you know. And from that stillness, then I can hear the messages. And from the messages, I can link in better, and the communication starts to happen. And the longer you sit for this stillness, if you want to call it sitting in the power, the better the attunement starts to happen. You know? And I personally think there are other exercises rather than just sitting in the power, which are equally beneficial, you know, and work really well for trance, and lots of different ones which work well. And so there's all sorts of other things you can do. Sitting in the power, of course, is a fundamental one and will affect and help your mediumship, but it's not the only one, you know.
Well, you know, I usually have, everybody knows I have lists of questions. And I love it when I have to actually go through it now, because in your sharing in the beginning, and I love how when people share how everything started for them, because everybody's story is a little bit different. And it's just amazing to me. So I love to ask that question, but now I have to go through my list, because you have already answered quite a bit of them already.
I'm sure there's lots more to talk about.
Oh no, there's definitely lots to talk about. You know, one of the things that's hard right now, within the group, there's so many members in the group, and everybody doesn't learn the same way, or they don't take information in the same way. Yeah. Some people are more left brain, no nonsense. And then there's the other side that they need, you know, they can understand different language, love language, light language, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. And why am I going off on that? I'm not really sure. I just know that I just like how you speak, how you're sharing. And I like to have a whole bunch of questions ready for you. But like I said, I'm going through it now. Okay, one other thing really quick. You've been developing for, I believe you said 11, 12 years, or is this longer?
Well, depends when you call the start, but dedicated for trance, maybe 11, 12 years, yeah. Okay. Meditation is probably 15 or something. It's interesting what you talk about when you say people develop in their own way, and some people are writers, some people are drawers, some people are healers, some people are communicators, and it kind of bugs me when I sit and read some of the spirituality information that comes on. I find at the moment spiritualism seems to have lost some of its spirituality, you know, because there's so much unsharing, and I do it right, so my way is right, and you should do it this way, and you should sit in the dark, and you should sit in the light, and one argues against the other, and the other one saying that no, it has to be A followed by B followed by C, and I think that's just not right, you know. That's not the way I work, and I always work with people and ask them to try everything. Let's try a bit of drawing, try a bit of writing, try a bit of speaking. And then they'll find out, excuse me, sorry, the presence is getting stronger, my voice is changing. Then we'll find out that writing is the right thing for them. And healing is not the right thing. Some people like to have music, some people don't like to have music. Who am I to say, no music, sit in the dark, tie yourself up, put a blindfold on, whatever. But if that's your way, that's your way. Yeah. Let's work with that, and let's develop that, you know, and let's share and let's help each other, you know. I've got so many other groups.
I totally agree with that. I love that. You know, everybody has a different way. They need to try different things. It can't be, you can't say it has to be this way, you know.
Just because I feel like we're trying to limit the unlimited. You know, that it's got to be this pathway and that's it, and it's not. And if we always follow the same set of rules, then that pathway here that's never it's meant to come about, it's going to be difficult to happen. So there's people out there which are dance, you know, going to trance and dance, and I think this is fantastic, you know, just do this and let it all come out, you know. And we all followed some old rules which may be right, may be wrong, but let's find out why and explore it, and not be limited by somebody else's ideas of it, and express ourselves fully. This, you see, this I've touched on an issue here, but this is fundamental to trust. You know, and I think I've got to trust. First of all, you should put some trust in your teacher. Your teacher is spirit. You know, it may be me sitting in front of you and saying, try this, try that, but any teacher that's worth their weight in gold, salt, whatever the word is, will send you back to spirit first. Say, what did they tell you to do? Okay, we'll do that.
No,
and discover that for yourself, you know. I'm just the bit which kind of helps you go forward and talks about problems. And a client asked me the other day, and said, same thing, you know, who should I go to help me teach this thing, you know? And I said, well, the truth is you do not need a teacher. You don't need a teacher. You can sit by yourself and it can develop. And it will develop purely, you know. I do know a couple of pure channels. And what I mean by pure channels, never done a course, never read a book, talk really, but they talk different. And they talk from their heart, you know. And if your heart is not actively involved in any form of mediumship, you are not doing mediumship, in my opinion, you know. The heart's got to come into it, you know, because if you're just mentioning facts all the time, one fact after another, it gets very dry and dull, but the passion that comes through. Spirit is full of love, you know, why not give love, you know? And I remember a long while ago, I will get a word in soon, Kathy, sorry. I remember a long while ago that I had a client who was sitting in this chair here, and we sat there and said, what are we going to do today? And she said, oh, well, I don't know. I thought you would know. And I said, okay, well, the truth is I don't. And the truth is, well, let's find out what I'm going to do today and we'll just let it happen, you know. Let spirit direct this reading, not me or you. Perfect, she said. So off we go. I go into it. It ended up as a trance reading. I disappear, come back. I can't remember, 15 minutes, half an hour, whatever. I come back later. And this lady is in tears and she's like, she's flooded and she can't, her whole body's shaking and everything. I said, sorry, what did I do wrong? And she said, nothing. I said, well, I don't think I said a word. She said, you didn't say a word. Nothing happened. But this room was full of love and I knew right from that presence that I think it was mother or whoever, my mother was with me. I felt held, I felt trusted and I felt secure, you know. Felt like I was in a beautiful space. Now, if that was let's say a standard reading of anybody, probably you would have given their money back, you know, and said, okay, go and see somebody better, you know. But this was not that. It was what that client needed, you know. And the first rule for me is whenever you meet either a student or a client is to meet them where they are. And that is, you can't talk to a woman who's just lost their, you know, a 2-year-old baby about enlightenment and meditation. It's just not right, you know. But at the same time, it may be right, you know, 10 years later or whenever's the right time. You meet the need at that time. And the need is that half the time you don't know what that is. And you don't know that this client needs healing or needs a message or wants to know about their future. So just let it happen. Let it develop, it is. And yeah, there are certain rules. If you're a medium, you probably need to give evidence, etc. But sometimes the evidence is not verbal.
You know, it's sometimes I'll get into an interview and I'll be listening so intently here that I forget that I'm supposed to ask you questions. And so I can feel your passion. I can feel that energy. And as you speak, I hear, I remember lots of people asking me questions or telling me this or that, and saying that when you're sitting and you're sitting with somebody that's going into trance or bringing forth spirit, that the feeling of love, that energy, you will feel it when
Yeah.
spirit comes in.
Mm.
And they talk a lot about that.
I often say, and my guide Chow, who comes through, I often say about him, this is not about the words. The words will be lovely, and maybe that's will be ring true for you and good. But if you do not feel that you're in the presence of somebody that's loving, then I think this has not worked. And it happens. I gave it. I'm not so out there mainstream as others. I keep all my stuff quite close to hand. But I did a demonstration. I think it was about 40, 45 people in the audience. And I said that right at the beginning. This is not about the words. This is about the feeling, And I want you to feel what's going on. The words will come, but they will always be in dispute by somebody who will pick that, no, he's just read that in the book 5 minutes before or whatever. But you cannot dispute the connection between two people that happens, and the connection that we have as mediums, whatever forms of mediums. It's not just verbal, it's more, so all of this tends to go from trance into physical mediumship. I guess the definition would be trance is kind of out of the medium and physically independent of the medium, and this is an independent feeling where the whole audience would feel something. So I'm sitting in physical circle, and we're sitting in the cabinet, and Chow comes through and says, look, I want you all to experience this, and tells everybody, so look, I'm going to work with your hearts. And so they're all sitting there, and they get this feeling of their hearts, and they're all saying the same thing, and they're all afterwards they're saying the same thing. Of course, I'm oblivious at this stage. I don't know what's happening, and they're all talking about these beautiful emotions and the feeling of safety and warmth and security. And I think that's what it's about, The issue is we try to, we seem to forget the habit of loving each other. And just because I'm here and you're there, it doesn't mean that love can't flow between the two of us. We put reasons why not, but it should flow really well. And this also, I have other practices that I work. Sorry, this is just building up again and stumbling with my words as I'm trying to talk. I have another practice which is also a fantastic thing for people to try. I believe everybody can access universal knowledge, not just local knowledge of the big stuff, And, so I thought to myself, how can I help somebody do this? How do I train somebody to access this type of knowledge, or how do I show them how to do it? And there's a practice which I've started to do, and it's actually mentioned in some of those videos that you mentioned before on the Spirit Talk website. The first 5 or 6 are a description of trance from the spirit side, not from the physical side. So the first 5 different communicators. One says the first bit and it escalates, And within there was an exercise that was given, and it was told to me later, because I don't listen to my recordings, and I never have, except for one. And anyway, this exercise was just listen to your voice that happens on the inside. Your voice will speak to you, and this is not the loud voice of the ego. This is the whisper. So over years, I've been practicing this, and I practiced this just a couple of days ago. Let's say a week ago. That Helen and I were shopping, we're buying new phones, and as we're buying the phones, I'm filling out the paperwork. We'd have to go on to other things. So Helen said, I'm going to go to the store and have a look around this store. I said, all right, I'll finish this and I'll see you there. So I get to the store now. I have both phones in my hands, and I'm thinking, where is she? And I get to the store, and it's like a department store with a sale on. I think, oh no, this is worse. Is she upstairs? Is she downstairs? Is she left? Is she right? What? So stop. And this is the important bit. This is a stop. Let the voice come. And the voice just whispers, And the voice says to me, she's on the left. Okay, I'll go left. So I walk off left, and I look for her, and she wasn't there. So I do a complete circle of this floor, another circle, another circle, another circle. I go around 5 times, and it's like, you were left, you said left, and she's not left. Where is she? And anyway, so on the next circle, there she was on the left, and so I told her the story, you know, and she said, yeah, but I was just in the change room, which was, of course. Now, of course, I didn't ask the right question, I got the right answer, and this is very basic stuff. Everybody, you know, asks where their car keys are, and etc., you know. But it's not the example that's important, it's the pausing and stopping that's important. So let's jump back a bit further. So I'm going to go back about 6 weeks-ish ago, maybe a bit longer, 6, 7 weeks, and I'm teaching in a group. And I'm in the group, there's about 8 or 10 people, and we're talking about one topic, and all of a sudden we're off topic and we're on something else. Now, really, I should bring it back to topic and stick where we're at. But the topic comes up, and the question was, should you love yourself first, or should you love another person first? And I thought, well, this is interesting, let's just run. And so half the group are saying, well, you should love yourself first. You can't give away what you haven't got. It's got to start here. And the other half of the group saying, I can't love myself. It's too difficult. It's too much contradiction. I've got too many faults. And, you know, as each person's talking, as I say, we're not on topic. And I'm like, well, I get that point of view. And, oh, yeah, I understand that. And then we come around to the very end, and the last person said, what do you think? And I sat there, wow. You know? And my first thought is, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. Is it this or that? So I fell into my practice. My practice is be quiet. Let the speech come up. You know? And you sit there, or I'm standing, you sit there, and the speech comes up with the answer. Now, the whole point of this practice is not the fancy answer or anything else, it's to be still and listen. And this is a practice that was given to me. It was spoken about in that video I spoke about, but I sat with an enlightened Zen monk, and he said, the question was asked him, how do we solve all the problems of the world? He said, just follow 3 breaths and stop. And it sounds oversimplistic, but what happens is it stops a habitual reaction of anger arising from choices. Anyway, getting off topic again. So I sit there, and then I'm there, and I kind of, the link comes into me again. Bit of benefit here. The link comes into me, and the question was, should you love yourself first, or should you love another person first? And perhaps I should ask whoever's listening to this, how would you answer that? You know? Yeah. And the question that comes up, sorry, the answer that comes up was, they're both the same. Well, that's kind of a bit of a flippant answer, you know. They're both the same. And then the kind of the words follow after this. They're both the same because we're all one. We're all linked. What you give to somebody else, you build up inside yourself. And and it also says this in A Course in Miracles, what you give away, you increase with inside you. And this wasn't me, this was like what I call inspirational trance, you know, where the answer just rises. So you could practice this all the time and just let this intuition come up, you know. And this is bringing back the spirituality into spiritualism, and just accept spirit as it is and bring spirit into your life rather than being I only work with spirit from 9 to 5, you know. And then the other time I'm a grumpy bum and I kind of do whatever, you know. And this is like spirit's not meant to be just working hours. It's meant to be more than that. And if you listen to, sorry, Kathy, I will let you get a word in. If you listen to anybody that's passionate about what they say, their heart is active. You know, Jamie Oliver for me is fantastic. It's cooking. I don't get it, but he speaks with this passion about cooking that you just buy, you know. You want to try. And this is what I'm expressing now. You bring the passion into it. Your heart is active. And the heart being active means there's a connection, there's love in the world, and everything's right. So for me, spiritualism is more than, you know, 1 hour here and 30 minutes there and an hour here. It needs to be spirituality, spiritualism. We've got this great benefit, you know, being spiritual mediums. We can talk direct to spirit and hopefully get good answers back, and it just seems to fit with people, you know. So why not just build that link up and let that link come to you and express through you? And that's why I always sit with clients and I say, do you know what? I haven't got a clue what I'm going to do. I don't know. We may be doing psychic, we may be doing mediumship, we may be doing something else. Let's just find out. And then link, happens, talk, and that's what happens. And clients say to me, do you know what? I felt heard. You know, that's the bit they feel heard because the connections happen. Anyway, so this is how trance doesn't have to be a 9 to 5. It can be the whole of your life. And simple exercise will bring it all together in a package, whether it's just for a brief bit of time or for more, but bring out more, you know. The spirit is always there.
Well, I definitely want to bring up again. So I know you mentioned that a lot of your videos that you have on, what is it, Spirit Talk, right? The perspective of the spirit world on trance. Is that what you said?
There's a range of 5 videos where that gets answered, 5 different personalities, 5 different points of view or elements of it. Yeah.
Awesome, that's great. I would definitely want to check that out.
There's one of those videos which people keep talking to me about, and it's the only one I've listened to, and it's the only one of all my videos I've ever listened to. Because I was out with a friend and we're driving in the car and he said, I just want to listen to this video. Can you play it? I don't really want to listen to these, you know. I don't get it. And anyway, so, okay, come on, we'll play it. So press play and we drive for, let's say, 20 minutes or whatever it is. And we pull up on outside of the front of the house and there's still 3 or 4 minutes left. And we sit there, I can't get out, you know. And I thought, God, that was good. That was really good. And people keep talking about to me this video of Charlie Fish. And Charlie's another one of my guides that comes through, and his job's to lift energy, and he builds it, and he's the one that's giving me this energy now, and he lifts the energy and builds, and he talks so vibrantly, you know, and he hasn't got elocution, his language is poor, but he's kind of talks in a way that people just get, you know. And I was talking to people over the last 2 or 3 days, and I loved that video of Charlie Fish. But anyways, talk about it. And the other thing I found about with my trance is my guides don't work for me, you know. I'm sitting in circle. Sorry, let's go back a bit. I'm sitting and doing some education with a girl on the other side of the country here. And my guide Chow comes through, and the calling card for her was bird tweets. Every time he's there, she hears bird tweets on her part. And so, yeah, now Chow's here and he speaks and talks to her about whatever. And so he talks to her, and then all of a sudden, okay, you have a go. So she has a go, and she sits there, and all of a sudden, these bird tweets start to happen, and he talks to me through her. What are you doing? What are you doing there? You're supposed to be with me, you know? And I've since found out with communication, my guides will go to anybody, you know? And we sit in circle. There's 2 girls in particular. One of them says, I'm having trouble with my trance. And Chow says, okay, well, next Tuesday, when you sit for trance, knowing it's Tuesday, I didn't know, but no, it's Tuesday when she does it, I'll come and I'll give you a hand. So a few days later, she rings me and says, it's all changed, it's all different. You know, he was there, I felt him. And somebody else who wants to draw, and she's practicing drawing. And Charlie says, you start drawing, I'll come through. And so she now draws. So I've got a photo to the drawing to show you, this one. So this is her drawing of Charlie, right? And this is done with her left hand. First time she's ever drawn with her left hand, all right? So, and I've got 3 drawings, 2 or 3 drawings to show you, all right?
Okay.
So this is with her left hand, all right? Now, now, what's important here, look at the teeth, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Charlie comes through then the following week and says, thanks for the picture, I love it, but I hate my teeth. Can we do it again, but try and get my teeth better? He said, that was what they like. He said, but I don't like them. Right? So it draws again. So next time, now she's drawing with her left hand and she's drawing upside down. So this is, I'm drawing the forehead nearest me, rather you would normally draw the chin nearest to you, you know. So she's drawing upside down and back to front. So she changed it. Now this is a younger Charlie.
Wow.
Wow,
That's
so his teeth are fixed, you know,
yes.
his teeth are better. So he said, fantastic. He said, let's work with other people. Let's all work together. So now he goes to the first girl who is having trouble with trance, and he's helping her to draw. So he's drawing away. There's me in the background thinking, I thought you guys just worked with me. No, but it's not. If they link with you, they'll come to you and help you. You've just got to ask them. That's the only proviso they put in, because you've got your own team. They'll come in and they'll say, look, come on, I'll draw with you, or whatever it is. So anyway, let's go back to the first girl. She says, I need help. I want to draw, and I forget whether it's Charlie or Tao, starts to draw. And then over the next 4 or 5 weeks, she comes back to class each week, or back to group each week, with a new drawing. So, do you recognise this man? And yes, I do. I do recognise this man. That's Krishnamurti. And Krishnamurti, famous spiritual teacher. She got the droopy eyes, the dimple in the chin. So I go to Facebook, this is the photo. Oh, okay, fantastic, you know. Following week, she draws, who turns out to be, what's the name? Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, which is the teacher for the Dalai Lama, who's long gone. This is the thing. Oh, there's the photo. No, prove it. And she doesn't know these people. Following time, she drew Robert Adams, then she draws Yolanda, and then she's drawn another one which we couldn't place, but on a recent holiday, I took a photo of a Buddhist statue of one of their teachers who matches it. And all of these people are actually all connected onto the one Facebook site. And they all post, because they're all past, they all have people posting descriptions and stories and quotes from them. And up pops all these drawings of all these well-known spiritual people, which are all connected. And she's drawn them all and doesn't know who they are.
Wow.
And we're sitting in circle again, probably a couple of months ago, and it comes through, your guides are changing, going to get higher guides, etc., etc. And then a matter of a couple of months later, she's drawing all these big name people. And that's in partly because, I hope it's in partly because, my guides go, oh, I'll help.
Wow.
You know? And you know, this is the bit I'm talking about, spirituality back into spiritualism, is that why not share? Do you know, why don't you just ring me and say, I've got a problem, or I ring you and say, look, what's happening here, and help each other rather than saying I'm right and you're wrong. Yeah. And just connect with each other and bring the love back into spiritualism, because we link into it all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe I've got to get off my high horse, Kathy, hey?
No.
Let you get a word in.
It's really good. I really think it's important, you know. Let me ask you a question about Charlie. So it's Charlie, right?
Yeah.
So he comes in to lift the energy.
Yeah.
Is that what he does?
Yeah.
So I think it's very interesting, because a lot of people, I get to listen to a lot of people's circles. You know, they send me the recording sometimes, or sometimes I get to listen in on it. There seems to be a lot of Charlies. Like, you know, yeah, not just, you know, so far there's like 3 different ones, but that I've run across, but their job is to lift that energy up, to laugh. And when you showed me the picture, or where he said that he didn't like his teeth, I could imagine everybody was laughing hearing that, you know? So how many guides work through you?
Not an easy answer.
Okay.
Reason being is, sorry, Charlie's talking to me. The reason being is that I've opened myself up. And I get, let's say, 3 main communicators, 5, if you include a couple of periphery, but I've opened myself up to be a little bit experimental and ask if anybody wants to come through, can come through. You know? And now I've had people who've come through for one only. So 6 months ago, a guy comes through, sings Onward Christian Soldiers, and we've never heard of him since. Another guy comes through, gives a bit of a speech, and we don't know about him. Other ones, like on Friday, as in, what, 3-4 days ago, Charlie in Circle says, okay, we're going to try something different. And what we're going to do is we're going to sing. All right, so we're going to bring through a few people to sing. And we'll all sing a song, etc., just a line each. And we'll then, he said, this is not evidential. So we're not going to stop and say, I'm such and such and I was born here, and give some evidence and then sing a song. It's just going to sing the song. So just accept it or don't, whatever. And so now this first person's come through once before, and but the others have, I think haven't come through any other time. And so drift off, there I am. Charlie's giving his speech, and then this energy comes over, Freddie Mercury style, sings Mama killed, whatever. And he sang just that line, just that bit. Stopped. Then there was, that's all right, I've got to remember what people told me. Then it was John Denver, Country Roads, Take Me Home, etc. Then there was somebody trying to play a trumpet with lips. Oh, there was George Michael singing Last Christmas, and there was somebody else. Like there was 5 or 6, and he said, at the end of it, said, it's not evidential. There's only one here that is the real, the rest aren't. All right. So this really was a training course for spirit to some degree. And he said at the end of it, he said, look, we're doing this as a trial bit. We hope to bring the real people through at some stage. Anyway, so all the singing. Oh, Hello Dolly by Louis Armstrong. There's another one. Anyway, now the important bit was after that, where Charlie then talks and says, this is actually a message. We haven't picked these songs randomly, you know. Oh, and then Freddie Mercury comes back and says goodbye, everybody, again. Anyway, and one person said, I know you've had a tough last Christmas, hence George Michael singing Last Christmas, and I know you wanted to be in your hometown, Country Road, and you couldn't be, and I know you've got some conditions, and this Christmas has been tougher for you than anybody else, and blah, 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 blah. And one girl could take this. She could take the message as being all for her. And then that night she rings me back up and said, you're not going to believe this. She said, I've got my 17-year-old daughter here with her friends. They're all watching horror movies. Luckily it's 3 in the afternoon or something. They're all watching horror movies, and they start singing Bohemian Rhapsody and then start singing Take Me Home, Country Roads.
Oh my goodness.
And it was only the 2 songs, I think. And she said, that was my confirmation. It was for me. You know, 17-year-olds, you can imagine them singing Bohemian Rhapsody, but Take Me Home, Country Roads, maybe not, you know, wasn't on the video they were watching. So there was a connection, it all happened. And other times, other songs have come through and they've sang and everybody links in. And again, when we sit for physical, Charlie comes in and sings the songs we sing at the beginning to lift everything, you know, but he changes all the words and he sings what he wants to sing, you know. So one of the things is I can see clearly now the rain is, you know that song?
Oh, yeah.
And he changes it to I can sing clearly now the body is gone. I can see all meanings in my lives. And it just sings. And do you know what? That to me is just as evidential, although there's no proof or anything of everything else. Everybody walks out lifted. And if there's nothing else, everybody walks out lifted. It's done its job, you know. If we've made everybody a little bit happier, you know. So we're very lucky in our circle. We have 2 physical mediums in development, one ectoplasmic and one energetic or photoplasm. Both are developing and both have very, very minor stuff happening, not enough to say anything's happening, but it's building and it's developing.
But it's building, yeah.
Both. So it's some kind of, somewhere in the future something's going to give, but maybe it already has, you know. So it's just a beauty that exists within this. And everybody can have it. Everybody can have this beauty. It's not just for me and a bunch of others, it's everybody.
How often do you sit with your circle?
I have 4 circles a week. We sit with for different things. I sit in meditation, probably do 12 sits a week, anything from 15 to 30 minutes a sit. I sit then by myself just for instant meditations before readings. It's not a 9 to 5 for me anymore. It's just all day. I may not be doing a reading or maybe shopping, but not the point.
Well, that's a lot of dedication. Most people, I think that's one of their problems, is not sitting regularly or having that commitment to do that. And so when you're having these experiences and you're telling me you have 4 circles and you're doing this and this and that, I mean, it's pretty amazing just to hear that you're doing that.
But it's not work.
Yeah. No, it doesn't sound like it's work.
It's just you find this passion that's there and you link in. That's Jamie Oliver. Is it work that he cooks? And I would doubt that it would be. And don't you find that anybody that, now let's go back in history for some bigger name, either physical or evidential mediumships, mediums, that their passion was there. The heart's activated, and the heart's in their job. I think that's the problem with people's job, full stop, whether you're a secretary or a taxi driver or what. The heart's got to be there. And it's got to become fully present. And in being fully present, then spirit are present. A lady asked me a question the other day and said, how does conversation happen? How do we talk? And the question was something like this. The answer, again, sit still, be quiet, let the answer come. The answer that was given was, we think it comes from here down to here and then out of there. But that's not true. That's not what happens. What actually happens is conversation comes from out of the silence into your belly. This is your sacral chakra area around here. It rises up to your heart and either goes into your heart or bypasses it. And you have a choice to let it into your heart or not, because some people do have a heart, emotional heart blockage, And so you add a little bit of heart to it, and then it comes up to here, and you either had a bit of logic to it or not. And when it gets to the back of your throat, then it's either habitual or not. So if it misses all this out, it's just habitual talk. How are you? Good. It's not true. It's just an answer. Or it becomes just the logic point, and it's just a logical answer, or it's just an emotional answer. So the real truth about conversation is to let it come in and let it go out. So in through the silence and out through the silence, and let it flow. Just let the thing be, And so if your heart's not working, then you'll never be there. Never fully there. You'll get by, but you won't be happy with the result.
I agree. When you first had Spirit spoke through you, and then they stopped, and it took a couple years before they, it started to happening more often. Do you remember if not the second time, how were their feelings? Did you feel the energy coming? How can you describe that?
Yeah. I can feel it now. For me, the sensations are up my spine, across my shoulders, up to the top of my neck, so kind of this shape, However, it happens in different ways. That's the most common way, and the way it should happen. But sometimes I'm in cabinet, and then the shivers go up and over me like a breeze, goes up my legs, over my chest, over my head, and wishy-washy all the way back down again. So it happens in different things. But what I've also practiced is to sit in stillness and ask Spirit to give me the sensations of a mother. Okay, show me what a mother's going to feel like. And you sit there and you get the sensations like a little bit of tingle over a shoulder. And they tell me, Father, this goes, and another one comes up on the other shoulder. Give me grandparents. What do grandparents feel like? You get sensations in different areas, etc. And the same, you can do the same with dogs and cats and horses, whatever. You start to feel the energy being different. I remember a long time ago, there was a medium. I'm only at the early stage of developing mediumship. She's training a group, beautiful lady, full of heart, love her to bits. I don't really know her, but I just, just connect with this lady as being beautiful. And I sit there, I stand up to do a demonstration, and okay, let's go. And like the energy starts to build up, and she says at that stage to the teacher, "Oh, it's for me." And I always thought back then, how did she know that that spirit that came close to my back was for her? How could she recognise this? Anyway, I've asked for this skill to be happening for me, And now I sit with people who are developing trance, and I'm watching the energy and go, oh, okay, the energy's coming now. Okay, she's going to talk, getting closer. And I see that things would go wrong at that point, And I'm sitting watching somebody, oh, the energy's changing, just sitting over a computer screen and the energy shifts and things happen differently. And to be able to sit with somebody and say, your mind wasn't there, was it? You're all over the place, or you're not focusing right, or your attention's not there. To tell what's going on for them in trance in like a personal level, not a generic level. The trance isn't working because spirit are there and you're not feeling the blending and they won't come in. So I could see it happening, And I see the energy around people differently now. I can sit with people, know this energy is a healing energy. You can see the sparkles or whatever. And it tries to help people a lot. But should you tell somebody that you're a healer as opposed to a, let's say, an evidential medium or a trance medium or whatever? Personal opinions, you shouldn't. But people often say to me, but it'll save me 20 years if I just do healing, because that's what I'm meant to do. Yeah, you may be right, but unfortunately you'll miss 20 years of experience learning all this other stuff. I just work with people for them to be themselves. That's the be yourself. Good enough.
I know you were telling me that they're starting to work in a deeper state of trance with you. Or do you work in a deep state of trance?
It depends. I actually up and down.
Okay.
So when I'm doing what I call inspirational trance, I'm sitting, wait for a message to just give. I'm fully here, so it's a very light trance, and everybody can get to this light trance. You'll drift away reading a book, etc. So it tends to be that stage happens quite often. But when I sit formally for trance, I just up and down, but my level is deepening all the time. I don't remember stuff that goes on, and I need to be told what's been said. So again, people come through, and so Chow came through a few weeks ago and said, look, there's another person coming to this circle. You've got to find out if their energy's right. 2 days later, of course, knock on the door and can I join? And I don't know that this is there. But for me, what it feels like for me is I'm sitting and I just like a river. All I'm aware of is like a flow of energy, just like a river that comes through. It just flows. And this flow just keeps coming and coming and coming, and eventually it stops. And then I'm back, etc. And that's how I know where it's a good, genuine session for me or not, because it's smooth. It's no effort, just gone, And so I'm aware of that flow of energy at times. And other times when it's not worked so well, or during my early days, or I haven't tuned properly, or whatever mistakes I've made, it tends to be a bit lumpy. So it's like driving over a lumpy road where it's just a bit bouncy, The flow is not as smooth, it's erratic, and that energy just works nice, So when I said about these 5 people come through and sing the other day, first of all, I would love to have listened to it and see what's gone on, but I didn't. My evidence for me is that flow. It just flowed really well. I'm happy with that. So now that's the way I judge any session at any time, whether the flow through the whole body is pure or not.
Wow. So let me ask you this. So, okay, actually I want to tell you something. So as you're talking, I'm feeling all this energy here. And I'm seeing you started talking right before you started saying something about sparkles. I saw a sparkle right on the other side of you. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then sometimes I'll get like really, really hot over here. But I'm watching you and I'm wondering, like I can just feel energy all around you. And I know that you're going to allow, if they wanted to come through. Did you want to, do we need to be quiet for that, or?
I've learned over a period of time that once I'm in my state, condition, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You just do whatever you want to do. Dogs bark. Somebody said doors have slammed, and news to me. Nothing. I'm just gone. So, to me, part of my evidence also with people in trance, whether it's me or you or whoever, again, you're exactly right. Feeling the energy and start to feel the pressure which builds up on my chest. So I get like as if you're pushing on my chest. That's my feeling. Again, this is my heart being activated. I feel sick. So before we started today, it's all this sick feeling build. Oh, I'm not sure if I can do this. This is starting to build, but no, it's my calling sign. Sick feels and starts to build. The tingles start to happen. Then the draw of energy starts. So times you may feel me sucking energy from you. And it doesn't matter that you're 16 hours away.
Yeah, no.
Time differences, that doesn't matter. It works exactly the same. And I pull this energy from you, and you may start to feel that. But once I'm gone, them sensations stop for me. I don't feel them. I don't see them until I start to come back, and I may then be aware of still chest pressure, etc. So it's just my sign. Other people's may or may not get it. But the pressure will be around. And the tingles and sparkles, the energy is happening, the lights will start. Perhaps have to see them clairvoyantly rather than with your eyes, if you know what I mean. So the lights start to happen. That's common. Well, I say it's common. People tell me it's common. I don't see it. But the things happen. And we had an experience about a little while ago here. We're sitting in the lounge because of all this work that goes on here. The energy in the house is really good, And we're sitting eating, Helen and I were on the couch and we're eating a box of shakes. These are biscuits which they've got that many calories, you don't bother eating them, just rub them onto your love handles, you know what I mean? They're that high in calories, but they're good. They taste so good that you can't stop them. Anyway, they're no good for you, but you enjoy them. Anyway, we're sitting eating these things, and there's a broom standing up, and Helen said, I'm sure I saw a hand over there. Oh, okay. So he said, give me a sign that you're here. Move the broom. The broom falls over. And okay. And then this hand over this box of biscuits, appears. The foil wrapper on the inside rolls in. We both witnessed this. We both saw it. Foil wrapper rolls in. The lid closes. 3 parts. The lid closed. The box crushes. My God, that was, there's just no mistake, this is both of us witnessing, both see it. And then the 2 weeks later, fruit is rolling out of the bowl. And we all get the odd bit of apple or whatever that rolls away, but we had 6 pieces in 2 weeks. One of them's a banana, rolls out over the floor. How a banana rolls out of a bowl, I don't know, but anyway, this rolls out of the bowl. All these children become aware, who are aware of children mucking around, and they're there for a while. So we just communicate. Now the lights flash every time we do spiritual circles here. It's the only time it happens. I know it's 4 times a week. Any other nights the lights don't flash, but they do those nights. And this is all the presence that builds up. It's building up your energy for trance or for physical. It's like putting drops in the bucket. You've got to put a lot of drops in before it gets full. That could be months or years or whatever, But unfortunately, the bucket's also got a hole in the bottom, so if you stop doing it, eventually it all leaks away. And so it's just keep going with it. So yet again, I've hogged the conversation, Kathy, and you're asking me about the lights, and I've gone totally off topic.
No, it's okay. I am like, I've got a fan going on here, and I'm like, getting hot over here. If you could think back to your development, Is there anything that what was the most difficult thing for you to overcome in your development?
Most difficult thing for my development. Well, I'm going to say it's the same as probably most people, trust and confidence. I would say majority of people who come to trance or come to trance either through me or whoever will have initially problems of trust and confidence and having to give off messages. And of course, this is evidential as well as trance mediumship, the ability to do this. So I then had to trust what I was saying was right, whichever way it is, and you've just got to learn to do it and push back some of the stuff. You're sitting in a family group, or hopefully it feels like a family, and then you've got to trust to give off the messages. The other thing that I had trouble with for a long time was regularity. I would sit when I could. And it's like going to the gym, when you first start going to the gym, it's a problem, you've got your life's busy and you can't fit it in. But what really should happen and does happen is if you put the sit in first, your life will adapt around it. So it's the same again with meditation, that if you sit and sit regularly, then everything will fall into place. And I had to kind of learn that lesson. And so, of course, the mind's full of excuses. It's too cold, it's too warm. I want to do this, I want to do that. But you really, what's happening here is this is a battle between spirit and ego. Your spirit wants you to sit, and your ego goes, "No, it's a sunny day. Let's go to the beach." And it is a sunny day. And I did think we should have. But anyway, it's a sunny day. Let's go to the beach. You've got this battle backwards and forwards. So you either listen to the ego or you listen to your spirit. And the spirit knows what's good for you. Sit still, do nothing. And then the third problem that came back from me was stop doing anything. Just stop trying to do anything. And what I mean by that is, I think as I started, however long ago in this conversation, is stop doing anything and just trust. Just let it go. You force it, and when you force it, it's your mind that's forcing it. Ego wants control, and you've got to do it. Just stop. Be still. And the spirit voice is small, the ego voice is loud. The ego will always at first want control, but go past that. So it's these three battles for me. It was never conversation. Others, of course, have problems with conversation. It was never, are my guides there or not, because I know they were there. So it was trust and confidence to a degree, but not totally.
I think that mostly everybody that I talk to, I think that's one of their hardest things is just letting go. That's the hardest part for them. And then trusting. I mean, that's like the biggest thing, I think. But when people sit, do you recommend, I mean, I liked how you said that you can sit on your own and learn trance and with your guide, you can do that. Not too many people say you can go and sit on your own, but I've talked to so many people that's how they learned. You know
what I found with that is people told me exactly that. You can't learn this on your own. And these are tutors at Arthur Finlay, it's new tutors, can't learn trance on your own. And I'm the type of person, as if you tell me I can't, I'm going to do it just to find out why. So I thought, stuff you, I'm going to have a go. So I did. And again, I was already communicating at this point, and so lie on the couch, put my phone on the chest, press record, disappear, and words would come. And the words that came, though, were not the obvious words, the bits that that you've got to go shopping and get bread and milk and whatever. They were unobvious words. And I found, yes, I can sit by myself. I can develop this by myself, and I can do it in bright light. I don't have to do it in dark. I don't need a cabinet. All these things help, but I don't need them. But then I find when you get deeper, when the state deepens, then you do need additional energy, and you do need that draw from other people. So in the, let's say, between light and medium, somewhere there, you can do it by yourself. Medium beyond, you will need some practice, some assistance. So it's both right and wrong what people are saying, I found. And I can only talk from my experience. I'm not talking from some book or something else that's taught me. So that's what I found. So you sit in the dark if that's what you want to do, or sit in the light and just tune in. I mean, it's a light trance, wasn't it, in the shopping centre? Very light trance. And didn't Leslie Flint start talking when he was in the cinema? So, you know, presumably the screen was on, and you know, that's not dark, is it? But anyway, so just sit in this state and just let it happen, you know. And then that trust builds up, confidence builds up, and spirit take you wherever you've got to go.
So going deeper, really quick, going deeper, or sitting, just sitting. Do you, if you sit on your own, because I know I'll get people asking me about this, sitting on your own, do you recommend just absolute silence, or do you music to be played to get used to the music?
And part of this course that we've spoke about, and other courses that I've run on this, is find out. Let's try. So we've tried tracks. I know a couple of physical mediums use the track Sacrifice. Beautiful music, lovely, and works good for people, and it's kind of no words, and you can blend really well with that. We've tried shamanic drumming. Fantastic, dum 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 dum. You know, really good. Works really well. We practice with. You can download a track which is Raindrops on a Roof, and that works really well too. So practice all these. So again, my mind. Right, I'm going to practice something else. So I put ABBA on. Now, everybody pretty much knows all the words of ABBA. You know,
yeah.
And I don't know which track it was. Can I go into trance with ABBA or whatever music you want? You know, yeah, I can. No problem. Happens. You know, maybe I'm experienced with it. Mine at the beginning wanted to sing Mamma Mia or whatever, Dancing Queen, whatever it was. But as soon as I push past that, then it happens. You know, the training exercise is going beyond the mind. The mind wants to sing. The spirit's not bothered, you know. The spirit will just listen, so it is a training lesson. So now I can sit in the sunlight, play ABBA, and still all works well when it's meant to work, you know. But I would recommend in the early days, perhaps those 2 or 3 tracks. Try Raindrops, try shamanic drumming. And you can download these fairly easy, and they're good. It works. It's regularity of music, you know. And I'm sure there's a science behind this. That, you know, the beat happens in a certain wavelength, you know, etc., etc. And I'm sure there's a science, but I can get that. But also I find that there's a little bit of science missing that can happen with ABBA as well.
Wow. You know, Mark, I'm going to pause this real quick because I'm getting a unstable connection. Let me just double check something.
That may not be your internet, Kathy. It may be the energy.
Okay, because yeah, it's so weird. It just came up, but I don't think I've ever seen that before. Okay. Okay, just had to pause really quick. I had some technical difficulties. What I want to talk about with Mark is I haven't done an interview in a while, and as Mark's talking, he's going through all these stories and experiences, and you know what's happened with this this person or in this circle. I'm like completely forgetting that I'm supposed to interview him. Yet at the same time, you guys know that I have like, you know, 29, 30 questions, and the first half of them, Mark already answered within the first 15 minutes. I didn't even ask him a question, but that's how spirit works. But what we're talking about here and what I'm seeing in the group, and just, the group, the Sacred Dance of Trance, that it's about sharing and supporting and not tearing people down. It's not about that. That's not what spirit's about. And that's what Mark is talking about, and sharing and bringing that spirituality back in, and then letting go with the trance and just allowing that to happen. But Mark's stories are like, I'm done. I mean, I don't have any other questions at this point. That maybe the spirit, does development ever end, Mark? Does development ever end?
No, because you never end. There was no preparation prior to today, and I still don't know what we're going to talk about for the next bit of time, but I just let it be the way it is. Just let it be the way it is. We can either work with people's fears, or we can work with their love, can't we? And there's probably arguments in both ways. So why not just be who you are and just develop who you are and become that person, and become who you're meant to be. It's for a long time, I've studied lots of big philosophies. I've mentioned Buddhism. Probably half the books here are some of the bigger, deeper stuff, And I struggled with how do you bring some of these big religious teachings or big philosophies, whether they're religious or not, and how does that match up with spirituality? How do the two match up? How does this experience I have of talking to a dead person, or a person talking through me, how does that match up with we are all one? And how does that match up that everybody is God and everything is energy? How does this figure out, And I could be honest with you, I studied this for many, many years, and I know with different qualifications I have, etc., that I could never find that link where this big philosophy, let's say Buddhist philosophy of emptiness, how does that match up with this spirit communicating through me? And over the last period of time, I've discovered where kind of things start to fit together, And do you know the story I told you right at the beginning of how this came in a full circle for me, Taoism, Buddhism, this colour yellow, Chow, etc., etc. Well, that full circle still happens again. And it happens with these philosophies, And this is the point I'm making really here, is that spirit is spirit, and it'll work with you and work through you and work with you in the way that it's meant to work. Yeah. And don't try and make anything else happen. I know I just mentioned a little while ago, don't do anything. Don't do anything. And I'm sure all these people are practicing, going, what's he talking about? Don't do anything. I've got to meditate. I've got to sit by myself. I've got to practice. I've got to, all this type of stuff. But this is about surrender. This is about giving yourself to spirit and letting spirit come to you. They are there. You are spirit. You are spirit. If you are spirit, how come you're not talking from spirit? And the reason is you're blocking it. It's getting in the way of it. So just let it be, connect, and just let it happen. Again, easier said than done, I understand, but that's the philosophy of it. And so I've managed to put together lots of big topics or big questions, A lot of people say we're all energy or we're all one, and that's too flippant for me. Okay, tell me how you got to that point of view. And people tend to buy into these cliche phrases, but never really understand them. And again, that's not for me. I had to go deeper and find out and link it all together. And it now works to the point, and I'm very, very lucky that I've got this link that happens, and I say, well, how does this fit with this? And they give me this in a way where it all links together, and I get it, And I've managed to link different parts of different philosophies in different ways. And that's not because of books, although there are some books in there, and it's not because of courses, although I've done plenty of them. It's part of it, it's a wakening up of me, and waking up to this link that happened, and understanding that. And if you are in element, if you are, your essential nature is spirit, if you are spirit, then what do you need to do to become spirit? There's nothing, is it? You don't have to do anything to become spirit. You just have to stop not being spirit. Do you see the logic of that? So don't put anything in the way. And hence the closed heart gets in the way. The spirit is meant to flow. It's all meant to flow. It comes in, it goes out, you hold nothing. But I think there's a Chinese or Tibetan story which says the scent of the little bit of the scent of the flower remains on the hand of the giver. And so a little bit of that knowledge sticks in here somewhere as it goes out of the mouth, and goes away. And what you give to another person, that little bit of connection that make their day a little bit happy, or connection of the heart, is spirit. So is trance. That is trance, isn't it? Loving somebody else, sending some love. And that's the spirituality into spiritualism. There needs to be nothing more than that. Just stop doing it.
Oh anyway. My goodness.
Anyway, that high horse has come back again, Kathy.
No,
I'm holding the reins.
I'm telling you, I could sit here all day. This is wonderful. I think this is like one of the most beautiful interviews I've ever had here, because I'm sitting here and I'm just, what you're doing is you're making me like, oh, I got to go read. I got to go sit. You're completely inspired me to come back and just be and let go and bring back the love, just all this stuff, so I'm like really flying high right now.
Kathy, the important message is for you and for everybody is you're good enough. You're already there. Stop not being there, Stop thinking you've got to, we've got to have society tells you we've got to have a certain body or a certain car, or you've got to be this, that, and the other, and you're not going to be happy unless you've got $1 million. Oh, you know what I mean? That's society telling us, isn't it? And let's come back to who we are.
Who we are.
And you are good enough.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Okay, so before I forget, I want to bring up for those that are interested again, Mark is offering his Trance Mediumship Development Group. It's going to start February 12th. It's 7:30 Eastern time. So you'll have to figure all that out. Mark is in Australia, Western Australia. Message him, send him a private message to register, but he also needs to know your level of experience, in that message. Definitely check out markbedwood.com. So he has his website up. He's also has his Facebook page called Spirit Talk. All the links will be underneath the interview here. And but definitely check out that Spirit Talk, because he has already uploaded other videos of him with his guide speaking, and some of it is about what the spirit world thinks about development or whatever. Just there's like different points of view, I think, and different guides coming through. So definitely check that out. I mean, yeah, that just sounds amazing. So Mark, I just want to say thank you very much for coming on. And you know what? I know I'm going to have you back on. I already know it, because I'm going to ask you. I really will this time. But I'm so grateful. I know trying to schedule it was very difficult, but oh my God, it just worked out perfect here. But thank you very much for being with us today. I really loved our talk today.
No worries. And there's a connection between the two of us over the last hour that builds up through the heart. And so I'll send you my love, and sit with that today, and just be yourself.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. And don't leave. I'm just gonna thank you guys, everybody. Thank you very much, Mark. And you guys have a great day. Thank you.